くださったのですね。
大事はなさそうだな。
はい、雪山の。
ああ、大したことではない。俺の務めだ。
立ち直ったとは言えません。
All right, my friends. So we have Goblin Slayer episode number 5. Beard Cutter to the South, essentially, is what this episode was called. Now, here's the thing, my friends, is I like to think of myself as a honest anime YouTuber. And what I mean by that is, like, I like to just give it real. And I don't like to hype up things that shouldn't be hyped up. And I don't like to cover things simply because, like, that's what's hot or trendy. I don't necessarily want to be like, oh, I follow my own path. I'm the kid in the corner either. Like, I'm very much a person where, like, I like what I like, I love what I love, and I hate what I hate. And that's just kind of how it comes. And a lot of times on YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, lots of platforms, I see people kind of like surrounding shows, even though like they are not enjoying it. So what I mean by that is I am at times enjoying Goblin Slayer Season 2, but in no way, shape, or form is it as close to my enjoyment of Season 1, nor even the movie, which the movie was like, Season 1 mixed in with extra stuff. But like Season 1, I've rewatched multiple times. I rewatched the movie multiple times already. And when I say multiple, like 3, maybe 4 times, since it's released. And the issue I'm having with this season isn't necessarily a problem with the season or the show itself. I think it becomes the time in which we have to wait for it, right? And what I mean, and let me make sure I have my ducks straight. So Goblin Slayer Season 1, okay? Season 1 release date. So Season 1 released October 7th, 2018, okay? We're now sitting here, you and I are sitting here in November of 2023. So we're sitting here 5 years later, okay? 5 years. That's half a decade, right? That's children entering kindergarten, right? Like, that's 5 years. That's a long time. Now, my main issue is not with this season. If this season immediately followed Season 1, right? We think October 2018, if October 2019 or summertime 2019, 6 months later, we got this season that we're getting right now, no problem. Continuation of something that I already love. My problem is there's 5 years between Season 1 and season number 2. That's a long time to wait, right? So my big issue I'm having with this show is it doesn't have the high highs of Season 1. It doesn't have the stakes of Season 1. And it truly doesn't have the wow moments, the oh, how they went there moment. It doesn't have those moments of Season 1. In context, if this occurred 3, 6, even 12 months after Season 1, I don't think this is a big deal. But having to wait half a decade, think about it like a lot of times. If right now you're sitting here listening to this dumb YouTuber speak, if you're 15, in 5 years from now, you're 20. If you're 20, you're 25. If you're 25, you're 30. If you're 35, guess what? By the time the next season rolls out, you could be 40, right? Just think about it in that context of like you having to wait for this adaptation. And of course, there's going to be people out there who, have head to the source material, originally watched or read the source material, and they're just slowly waiting for these things to be adapted. But a good portion of the people watching the show, I would dare to say 70% of the people watching the show are only watching the anime just like me. So my point is this season's a little slower. It's contextualizing the world a little more. It's contextualizing our characters that we have grown to love a little more. And none of those things that it's doing are inherently bad, but it sure effing is bad half a decade after the show has released. And I hope I'm trying to make sense there. Now, when I think about episode 5, I thought the episode was an okay episode. The portion of the episode that did bring up 100%, it brought a damn smile to my... I was smiling. I was so smiling was when Orkbold, or when our Goblin Slayer went and he visited the church. He took the tablets to the church, and we got to see the girl that he saved at some point, you know, from the goblins or whatever it was, a tragedy. The blind sword maiden girl, who apparently, from what I remember years ago, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think she's like one of like top 10 most powerful people in the world, but she just has a big fear of goblins because of with the tragedy that had befallen her in the past. And she also has a big thing for the Goblin Slayer. But like everybody else, he just kind of like doesn't really pay attention to it, just kind of plays it off. He may or may not even know or realize that she does have a thing for him. But her cute mannerisms and everything were really cool here. And of course, you know, she brought it upon herself to, you know, say, hey, you know, thank you for taking care of one of my own, you know, the maiden girl in our party. And those moments, this episode was like top notch. The rest of this episode was set up for what comes next, right? Before he left the maidens, the archbishop's, what would you call it? Hall or room or sanctuary? I guess sanctuary is a good word there. She warned him about, you know, ships that have been disappearing and goblin attacks and stuff. So she basically pointed us in the direction of the next thing that the show's going to come into, which is this other form of goblin attacks. So now we know what we're going to get next, which I think is pretty cool. And then also, as you know, set dressing, we also have the elf. We also have the elf wedding taking place. You know, I'm also looking forward to, like, you know, will Goblin Slayer get out of his gear and actually dress up, and people will be like, oh wow, such a good looking dude or whatever. Like, I'm interested in all of that to happen as well too, don't get me wrong. But overall, this episode was an easy 7 out of 10 episode. It was good, it wasn't great, wasn't amazing, wasn't bad, wasn't just okay. It was a good episode. But again, I'm just thinking about this season as a whole being packaged. It's like, this is a great package immediately following season 1 5 years ago. Having to wait half a decade for a season that's set up for bigger things to come. I don't know how I feel about that. You guys need to let me know how you guys feel. Maybe I'm completely off base. Maybe you think I'm crazy. Maybe you're on the same page as me. Maybe you're enjoying it, but it's not like the best thing. You're not like, you know, if you skip a few weeks, you wouldn't lose any sleep about it. You wouldn't be like, oh, I gotta go watch Goblin Slayer. Because that's how I feel. If I wasn't reviewing this every week, 100%, I'd probably just chill on it and just wait for the dub to finish, and I would just watch the dub at the end of the season, probably with the wife or something, which I'm going to do anyways, because she likes Goblin Slayer as well. My wife likes Goblin Slayer, so I'm going to end up rewatching with her regardless. But honestly, at this point, couple of episodes in, you know, a few episodes in, I'd probably just kind of put the pause on this, and I would just come back in 8 or 9 weeks when the dub finishes, because right now the dub, I think, is, and I'm gonna, you know, keep me honest, so y'all. I think the dub's on episode number 2. Yeah, so they're 3 episodes back. So essentially, we have 7 more weeks of Goblin Slayer, and they're 2 weeks or 3 weeks back from there. So essentially, in 10 weeks, I would just come back and watch the show all at once, probably over a weekend or something. And the season would probably be a little bit better that way, too. So, anyways, lots of feels, lots of me poo-pooing on one of my favorite shows ever. But, hey, that's the thing is, you know, you got to be critical of the things you love. Now, of course, what I'm going to do is I'm going to support the show. I'm going to buy the Blu-ray. You know, I'm gonna support where I can support. You know what I mean? I'm going to continue my subscription on Crunchyroll for no reason, even though I don't really use Crunchyroll because I hate that app. You know, but I'm going to support it where I can. So anyways, let me know what you guys thought of this episode down in the comments below. Also the Sword Maiden. Oh my God. So I'll see you guys next week. Peace out, my friends.